Gorilla, and with my main man, Cowboy, bringing this edition of Algo Factory free on YouTube. And look, if you're listening to us on YouTube, don't sit there and procrastinate. As global events are transpiring, as things are happening in the world that are going from bad to worse, the largest transfer of wealth in human history is about to take place. Do you want to get paid? Money, when it leaves the system, folks, money always leaves through the markets. How do you think it's going to happen? Right? How do you think the wealthy are going to move from one financial system to the next financial system? It's through what? Markets. And guess what? The elites never destroy the markets because why? It's their markets. It's how they move money. So when you position yourself and trade and you learn the ropes, you learn the play-by-play, which you'll get here on Algo Factory, and then learn how to build your own algorithm so it trades on your behalf, then I'll tell you right now, you become one of those exit doors through which money flows through. And this is what I've been saying for years. The transfer of wealth is about to take place. Do you want to get paid? This is how you do it. There's no other exploit. When you're buying gold, you're just buying gold. You're stacking it, hoping that the price goes up one day. Same thing with the cryptos. Same thing with every other asset. Trading is the only thing you can actively be involved in that can increase your income, increase your bottom line, increase your profits, whether the market is up, whether the market is down. It doesn't matter. Because a good trader, which is what we are creating here on Algo Factory, a good trader will profit from ups and downs. A good trader welcomes volatility. So you're in the right place at the right time, folks. So strap on in. Enjoy this free session and then sign up. Cowboy's got the QR code flashed on the screen. Sign up and join us in the room that's going to radically change your life. Get this done. Now let's get this going. Cowboy, let's get into it.
All right, cool. Yeah, the website is on the screen in the QR code as well. That's www.algofactory.tech. This is a pretty amazing program. Just so you understand, I have earlier in my career, I used our competition, and there are some great companies out there, and nothing against them. As a matter of fact, I benefited greatly from the competition. However, we're offering the same or more, and we are charging about, maybe a fifth or a sixth of the price. And that price will not last forever because we got to raise the price to keep the lights on, be frank. So, what you can do though is if you do get in at this $49.99 price, you'll be able to keep that price grandfathered in as long as you do not let your membership lapse. And then when we raise the price, we may double it or triple it. I think that's kind of what we're looking at doing. You will be able to not have your price doubled or tripled for this tier of service. So, look, when you're given the tools to learn how to become financially independent, if that's what you should do, what you should choose to do, if you're able to use our methodology to create an algorithm that will allow you to, even if it's just to supplement your income by a little bit, it might take several months to do. This is not a get-rich-quick thing. But if you do have the dedication and you're willing to put the work in, this can be radically life-changing. And for $50 a month, it's nothing. It's practically free. So that's the commercial. Thank you all for being here today. And we did get a pretty good question in our private group. Let me see if I can find that. Brad King has a good question. Brad King is also in the chat, in the YouTube chat this morning. And his question, I'll just read it out to you here. And this was aimed at both of us, V. It says, V and Cowboy, I would be interested in hearing your opinion on holding a significant percentage of net worth in USD over the next 12 months. Why would you advise for or against? Well, of course, the first thing I said was we don't advise anything. We don't dispense investment advice or financial advice. That's something you have to talk to a licensed investment advisor before, making any kind of decisions there. And you might want to do that, definitely want to do that before you trade, because you can lose money doing so. It's inherently risky. But to get back to the question here, he says he's an Australian citizen in the country with his brother. Both just landed from overseas. looking to make some moves forward. So, V, you're
Hearing your
on
opinion.
the. Say again.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're just reading the
Oh,
question.
yeah, I'm reading the question. You're going to hold U.S. dollars for the next 12 months. You're fine. You can be holding Aussie dollars for the next 12 months. You'll be fine. You can be holding Canadian dollars for the next 12 months. You'll be fine. You can be holding Euro dollars. I mean, euros for the next 12 months. You'll be fine. You can be holding yen for the next 12 months, and you'll be fine.
And this is just opinion, folks. This is just our
opinion. This is my opinion. This is my analysis. Seek your own
not advice.
Yeah, seek your own advice from a financial professional. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, look, 12 months, you can hold a significant portion of whatever fiat you want. I mean, minus any sort of emerging markets and stuff, you're good. You're good on USD for 12 months. The question then becomes, what the heck are you going to do with that, significant portion of your income just lying around in USD? You want to put money to work. I don't like it personally for myself to have money just sitting there. It's got to be put into something, right? You got to put it into an investment. You got to put it into private equity. You got to put it into trade. I mean, there is some options out there. There's if you want, but if you're just talking about are you going to be okay holding dollars for the next 12 months? Yeah, absolutely. Because whatever is going on right now in the world, it's not something that's going to be done overnight. I mean, the rug pull, a lot of people have this idea that China or the BRICS or the multipolar world is going to do a rug pull on the dollar. And it's not going to be a rug pull. I mean, systemically, the U.S. is broken, and there's no way the U.S. could field any sort of war, barring, minus any sort of color revolution, which is the only thing they could do because it's cheap to do it. But in terms of rug pulling the financials, no, they got to do it in an orderly fashion so that nothing breaks on their way out. So 12 months, you're good. The question becomes is in those 12 months, where do you put your money? How do you want to invest? How do you make it grow? That'll be the bigger challenge that you want to look at. And being here in Algo Factory, you know what? You give us 6 months. You grind your nose to the grinder with us. You put the balls to the wall and study hard with what we're putting out here. And dude, you can take whatever profit you have and sitting in U.S. dollars or Aussie dollars, and you can absolutely slay it in trading.
Very high probability.
Yeah.
Very high probability you could slay it in trading for sure. Yep. Algo Factory and what we do is it's going to be dependent on your own efforts, right? I mean, if you just like watch our shows for 6 months and you don't really put forth any effort, then your probability is going to be lower that you're going to be successful trading. But look, I taught myself how to trade. I got into this years ago now, and I didn't seek any guidance for a couple of years. And so, I was fortunate to have the kind of mind to build algorithms. I actually started that super early. My own history is that and I've talked about this before, but I know we have some new people on the channel. So basically, I built what's called a spread arbitrage algorithm, and it was manual. I didn't code it or anything like that, but that's just, I was able to take some money off of Ether Delta that way, which is an old antiquated cryptocurrency exchange, and I was able to exploit the technical inefficiencies because it was basically part on chain. So the transactions didn't have this instantaneous kind of feel that you get, that you have to spend millions and millions of dollars to be able to be faster than somebody else with these high frequency trading, algos and stuff like that. This was a 10 to 14 second update. So there was no robot that could be faster than me or anybody else. And so it was a battle of wills. And when it comes to a battle of wills, you don't want to go against me. It's not going to work out very well. So basically, I was able to siphon a decent amount of profit off of there. And that loophole was closed after just a few months. And I was able to parlay that into learning how to technically trade. And fortunately, that was right at the crypto bull market of 2017, early 18. So, I got in at a good time. And then what ended up happening was when the bull market, I was new enough not to understand like the halving cycle, anything like that. I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants on that one. And crypto was so new, it was almost like you only had 1 or 2 halving cycles to look at, so there wasn't really this huge sample of data that you could use to analyze the macro. So a lot of people were flying by the seat of their pants. We thought, I was listening to these stories about this rug pull that V was just talking about. And I mean, I remember I used to listen to this guy, and I don't want to say his name because he's a decent fellow, but he was on YouTube. So, oh yeah, well, this guy from like the Midwest. Oh well, that Bitcoin did really well today because the dollar is gonna crash, and basically what's gonna happen is the dollar is gonna disappear, and Bitcoin's all that's gonna be left. So, I got a Bitcoin or two, and basically a little bit of silver. And when that dollar crashes, that's going to be it. So it's financial turmoil is coming, and it's here. And so it was just all this like doom and gloom stuff. Man, I have heard. You've been doing this longer than I have, V, when it comes to kind of the I don't know, the truth or alternative news, whatever, right? And I've been hearing about how like the dollar's gonna die, and I used to preach that shit. Kind of like when Gus talks about when you first get red pilled and you want to go tell everybody for like 3 months and they hate you. Like, you know what I mean? Like
your family hates you.
Your family hates you. You ruin Thanksgiving. It's worse.
Thanks, man. You ruined Thanksgiving again.
Your family preferred that you came out gay on Thanksgiving instead of like becoming red pilled.
Oh, exactly. Damn it! Wish he just would have came out gay.
Yeah,
he's gonna talk about doom and gloom again.
Why didn't you show up with an ascot and your quote unquote friend like your brother did last Thanksgiving? Why can't you just be like quietly gay instead of being red pilled like?
Yeah.
Nothing against gay people. I actually have a half brother who's gay. I love him to death. But anyway, so it's one of those things where. My whole process was I was buying this rug pull story that V literally just covered with our question from Brad King. And because I bought that rug pull story and I kept thinking, the dollar's going to die and all this. Well, I thought, and maybe not incorrectly so, that Bitcoin was going to make me rich. I thought the dollar was going to die next year. And I thought we were going to go to World War III and I was going to have to, go live in the country and eat cat food, whatever. And so I really, really got kind of hardcore on this. And of course, I've mellowed out. Now, what I did do was I did move to the country and I did prepare for some pretty wild scenarios, but I went ahead, I did that, and now I can relax knowing that I did that and live my life. And so what I've been doing is like, okay, I don't know if or when this rug pull is going to happen or how long it's going to take. I've gotten a lot more data since then, and I think the orderly fashion, what you said about that, and that's Tom Luongo, he really says the same thing, that the F the dollar button is not going to get hit unless there's some crazy thing that happens, like somebody drops a nuke on Moscow or something,
Right.
And I doubt, dude, that's suicide. No one's I really really doubt that like marching against Russia or something is going to happen. It's just,
it's not going to happen. The U.S. doesn't have the capability to do that. I mean, like I said before, it's surprising if even 20% of our nuclear arsenal even works. I mean, we're in such a state of disrepair. It's not even funny, man.
Yeah, they're still spraying they're still spraying the warheads with WD-40 to keep the water off.
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard the story, and I think I even looked it up. So WD-40 was actually developed to keep water off warheads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, water displacement formula number 40, and it was just the 40th formula that they tried, right? So long story short, though, is that I think that, look, the volatility that we may see with what happens with the currencies in the next few years is going to be, I think, more of an opportunity for people like us who can trade, who, I can just short the dollar. You know what I mean? Like, this is something all day on Forex. It's why I like Forex. It's currencies, sovereign currencies. Like, okay, if you're trading stocks and you go in spot, all you can do is wait for the market to go up. And then what are you going to do for that, 3 years or 6 months, whatever it is, you have to wait for the market, right? Now you can short stocks if you're nimble and technically savvy. Most people know how to do that. Crypto, you can certainly short that. And I play crypto like that on the derivatives exchanges, but, that's something, Forex is a little more stable than crypto, in my opinion. It's certainly as volatile as crypto because of the level of leverage that's built into trading Forex. And, I trade on like a US, regulated exchange, it's relatively safe, things like that. That is that's an ability I have, and that's an ability we all have. And it seems like it's like a complex thing to do. Like, I'm going to Forex and shorting currencies. And that sounds really complex. And like building algos is not that complex. It's fancy words. It's not, it's very learnable. V and I have been showing people the nuts and bolts of this since like 2018. This is nothing new. He said, we've been doing this for a while. We took a break. But I mean, V and I have seen people like learn how to do this and make themselves wealthy and not have to work again. We've seen it. People who, that we know, like that we actually helped learn, from some of our older days back in about 2018. And so it's one of those, it's just a great opportunity to be able to do that. Let's see if you have any other questions. So, but yeah, look, the USD is going to be dry powder. My answer was to get back to this question that kind of spawned this whole talk about my personal trading history. Brad King, my answer to that question is, of course, we don't, give investment advice or financial advice. But as far as my own portfolio, I look at USD dollar as the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry of currencies, which is I borrowed that term from V here. It's good dry powder in case there's like a market contraction, which may happen late in, say, quarter 3 or quarter 4. And there are many forms of dry powder, which, like V said earlier, the Aussie dollar or euro, whatever it is. But we can look at the chart of the, like, say, the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar. If you want to see what that chart looks like, I can put that up right now. Matter of fact, I will. But let me see if there's any other. Okay, I don't see any other questions going right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And yeah, Brad, of course, yeah, I get, yeah, you see, you recognize that it's not investment advice. So EURUSD, let's look at AVUSD. Okay, so we're going to look at a high time frame trade here. You guys should see I had a little test trade. I'm testing one of my new algos on the EURUSD. So a little toy money on there. Nothing of significance. So we're looking at the 5. This is a weekly chart. So against the dollar, the weekly chart looks very bearish. Let me get rid of some of this noise here. Not really using that indicator. So yeah, this is looking bearish to me. And that's a weekly chart. So whatever's happening on the weekly, let me roll up to even the monthly, because the great thing about Forex is that the history goes back a good, sometimes 20 years, sometimes longer. So you can really see what the trend is. And the trend's bearish on the Aussie dollar versus the dollar, certainly. But, if looking at what's been happening with the dollar in recent history, that is very obvious. This goes back to, this chart goes back to 2002. So this is 21 years of history, and definitely in a downtrend on this. And as a matter of fact, just from a structural standpoint, we're looking at a high time frame downtrend, right? From like a market, price action. So if I were to price action this, and we got a few minutes left, so this will probably be the last bit on the show, so we don't have any other questions either. So you have lower highs, lower lows. We're in a downtrend, right? So the next lower low, if this were to continue, would be pretty low. It would be a good 30% lower than it is right now. I'm not saying it's going to go there because, gosh, I don't know why that does that. How TradingView pushed my my drawing aside there. But anyway, so one thing to look at, say, from market structure standpoint, is there was a hard bounce. And this was in 2008 during the great financial crisis. So there was, of course, a very violent move down way back here in 2008. And the low was recently revisited during the 2020.
Hey, Cowboy, you don't have your chart up, man.
Oh, son of a gun. Thanks for the reminder. Okay, that's good. I'll start over. Besides, the TradingView messed up my chart anyway, so you guys didn't miss anything. Let me go ahead and bring up the chart. If we need to spend a little bit extra time on the free here to cover it, I will. Sorry about that, folks. Sometimes I just forget. Hey, man, I get up at 3:30 in the morning, so that'll do something to you. All right, so okay, we're looking back 20 years on the Aussie dollar, right? And the downtrend that I mapped out looks like this: lower highs, lower lows. Very simple. But as soon as I let go of this arrow, it's going to skew the arrows, this whole drawing to the right. Now, if price continued down, you're looking at a very massive 30% correction. But watch when I click this. Oh, it didn't do it this time. Nice. So to go all the way down here to follow that trend, first of all, the trend is flattening out. So it's probably not going to do that, I don't think. Then anything can happen. So I don't want to say it's probably not going to, but it just doesn't. It looks like it's going to stabilize around these 2008 lows that were created back here. Let me go ahead and highlight that with a shape. Cutting shapes. So there's this low right here. And then, of course, that was revisited in 2020 COVID, which is where we left off before I realized that I didn't have this up. So we do have these lows, and price is revisiting those. Now, and this is a high time frame look, right? But you're asking about high time frame look. What you're asking about is whether or not the dollar is good to hold in the future as things happen. And I personally think things are going to continue. 2025 is a bit of an unknown situation. Forecasting out past that for many reasons that we're not going to get into on this show here today. Forecasting past 2025 is very difficult for even the big dogs. But if price were to just a simple look at this, right? Because that's the best you can do, forecasting out that far. I do see a very good possibility in the near term, say towards the end of the year, of price revisiting this lower bound on the AUD USD, this kind of 60 cent sort of area. But if the next bounce up is lower than this area here, and it keeps bouncing on this lower bound with lower highs like that, then you can expect a fall. Because that's how the charts work. If you bounce off the same line and then the bounces get lower and lower and lower, eventually it would break through. But you're talking about something that could take years to happen. If you are diversifying into, if you're deploying your assets, you're diversifying into, say, whatever you think is good. Now, I personally like precious metals or crypto, or I think even real estate, if you're in the right jurisdiction, is good. I'm not a huge fan of real estate because it's illiquid. Like, you can't take it with you, and it can be taken from you if the government doesn't like you. But if you are not worried about those scenarios, I think real estate is just on the surface a pretty decent investment. But again, not investment advice. Those kind of diversifications which allow you to deploy your money or at least freeze your money. In like gold, I think gold is kind of like freezing your money. I think those are where I would be looking to avoid an issue in case something like this happened with the currencies. So that's just my look at it. And we are here at the end of the free live lab. So V, do you have anything to add, or do you want to give us the old send off?
No, I have nothing to add. It's been a great show. Guys, listen, here's the deal. I said it before, I said it again. You have very few exploits available to you as a citizen of the Western world, and Algo Factory is one of those exploits. Listen, join us. Don't sit on the sidelines. Watch life pass you by. Watch money pass you by. Watch a better, options and opportunities pass you by. Join algofactory.tech today. And with that being said, let's get into the private room and we break down things even further at a much deeper